Congratulations, you're on point. Oh my gosh, I know it's just a great feeling. You've practiced for so many years on flat shoes and boring bar and all center, and finally you get to go on point. Everyone's dream of being a ballerina is to go on your point shoes. So here's just some basic tips and pointers for you guys. Ballet is just a really, really great art and sport, and it's just really awesome and a great part of my life, and I just want to share some tips and pointers with you guys. Now first of all, it's about finding the right shoes and toe pads and making sure that your feet are safe and protected so they won't get too damaged or you won't have arthritis that early in your life. But yeah, so the shoes that I wear are Grishko Elites. I wear a 3.5, 4X. Now the thing is that everyone's foot is different, of course. My foot's really wide, so that's why I get a 4X. If your foot is narrower, you might want to get like a 3X or a 2X. It really depends. Now I would really recommend going to a point shoe store and trying on shoes your first time, because the thing is, I order mine offline, but that's because I've been wearing Grishko Elites for as long as I can remember. Now they might charge a trying on fee at the place you go to, so be careful about that, but it really is worth it. Now your first pair of point shoes, you might not always stick with them. For example, I tried blocks, Capezios, Russian points, some shoes from China. It really depends, and they're all very different. At first I loved block shoes, then I tried them again and I didn't like them. I don't know why, but I guess my foot just changed and developed differently as I've been dancing even more. Really, the 3.5, now obviously I'm not a 3.5 in women's, that's way too tiny. I take about a 5.5, 6, so just to give you an idea, but I really do recommend going to your nearest dance store and just trying on as many shoes as you can. Don't worry about taking forever. I take like an hour and a half. Don't feel bad. Don't let them pressure you. This is a big decision. Point shoes are like $100, which is why once you get your preferred pair of point shoes, order them online from like Discount Dance or someplace really cheap. You can get them way like a fraction of the price. Now another thing is toe pad, but what I use is the Point Comfort Ultralight. I love these. I've been wearing these ever since I started. Some teachers might not like these. I don't know how they feel about gel, but I feel like the ones with fabric on the outside might get more like bacteria on them. These are easier to wash, and they're really comfy. Like, one time I tried to get different toe pads, they just didn't work. I ended up like, I just couldn't go on point. So I always stick with these. If they didn't sell these anymore, I'd be just totally spazzing out because I could not dance. I love these toe pads. I've always been using them. I recommend them to you too. But it really depends on the thickness of the toe pad and what you want for cushion. Some shoes even come with pads in them, but I don't really prefer those. Now the thing is about the box of your shoe, which is like the square part, I guess. Yeah. I prefer one that's really wide because my foot's really wide. Like, some point shoes are more narrowed at the top, some are wider at the top. Mine are about the widest you can get. But it really depends. Now, it's easier to balance on a shoe that has a wider box because the weight displacement, it's way easier than bouncing on something really tiny. Like, it would be easier to balance, let's say, like a very big cork on a table than a needle. That's the point, you know? Like, some of you might really like narrow shoes. It really depends on the person. That's just my opinion. Now, for ribbons, I get the Block Elastirib thing. Now, what they have on them is a little elastic connected in between the laces. Now at first when my mom got me point shoes, she's like, oh, they're so expensive, you don't need any extra things. But these are supposed to really help prevent against like getting things like tendinitis and like other things that's really bad. It's supposed to be better for you, plus it's easier to put them on because it stretches. So I don't know if you can see, there's a little elastic there. And if you do get these, so like the elastic is closer to one end than the other. Sew the one that it's closer to onto the shoe. If you sew your own point shoes, not the one that's further away. But if you buy your shoes from a shoe store, usually it's custom that they will sew the ribbons on and stuff for you. That's just a play thing that they do. Now, here's the thing that I was really worried about when I first started pointing was my feet hurting. Now, it really does depend because everyone's foot is different. For me, it didn't actually hurt. My foot just felt numb, which probably isn't very good, but I mean, it was better numb than it hurting, so it really depends. It might hurt for you, it might not, it might feel numb, you never know. But I do recommend that you get Band-Aids and toe tape. And by toe tape, I mean more like gauze tape. I think they have it from Johnson & Johnson or something like that. And by Band-Aids, get like smaller Band-Aids. Now what you're going to do is you're going to like pretend this is my toe, because you don't want to see my toe. You're going to wrap the Band-Aid at top around the toe, just like this, if this is the Band-Aid, to go like that. And you want the pad part to be at the tip of the toe since you're going to be standing on it. Then you don't want that sliding around or anything because it will get itchy or whatever in your shoe. You want to take the tape and wrap it around the Band-Aid so it stay on. Now, how to put on pointe shoes, it's different for some people. Some people prefer to put the toe pad on the outside of the tights. Some people say on the inside. I get transition tights, which is very important. For the ones with the holes in the bottom where you can you can take it off your foot or put it back on. And I put the toe pad on my foot, and then I put the tight over it, so the toe pad won't stick to my shoe. Now this is just how to tie your pointe shoes really quick. Here's my poorly sewn elastic. Now see these little things? Some teachers hate those, so you might just want to tuck them in or like tie them and cut them off. But for now, I'm just going to leave them on. So obviously you put your foot into here, okay? Now, each teacher might have their own specific way of how they want you to tie your pointe shoe, but if they let you choose, this is really a good way. This is what I was taught from my Russian teacher. Okay, so how to tie your pointe shoes. You need to take the ribbons and cross them over. Okay? So it's like crossed. Now you're going to bring these around and then cross them over one more time. And it depends on the length of your ribbon. Now flex and point your foot so you know that they're not too tight. Then put them on the inside. This is very important. If you put them back here, you can hurt your tendon. So put them on the inside, keep flexing and pointing, tie it. Now your ribbon might be too short, so it's fine. You can just take one and loop it around. And then after that, just tuck it under. And there you go. Okay, now I'm not sure if you've ever seen in like those drawings or whatever that people tie the ribbons like all the way up their shin. That is a lie, just like cake. It will not support your shoe. It's just not good to do that. If anyone tells you that's how you tie your pointe shoes, they're wrong. I just can't even comprehend, like, that's just really bad to tie pointe shoes like that. Your shoe will be like falling off and stuff, and that's just one thing that people do make a mistake if they don't have proper training. So please, 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 please make sure you tie your shoes like this or how your teacher instructs you to. Just do not tie them up here like a little like doll or whatever. That's just not good. And another tip is never get your pointe shoes or any other kind of ballet shoes wet. That'll just damage them, the glue will come undone, they'll just unravel, and it'll be like $100 down the drain. Like, don't run through the parking lot with them wet, don't go in the bathroom when it's wet, which would be really gross and weird. I don't know why you'd go in there in the first place, but yeah, just don't do that. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions or at all at pointe shoes, feel free to inbox me. I'll even make a tutorial or video if you want. So thank you for watching, and have a great day. Bye.